Let's get shredded. Beef. Hello, I'm Jeanette at Rustic Pathways, and we take students ages 12 to 22 on immersive and fun-packed travel programs all around the world. Today we're bringing home some of those delicious flavors from the Dominican Republic with Carne Ripiada. Before I jump into the recipe, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our videos. Carne Ripiada means shredded beef, and Carne Ripiada Dominicana is basically a cousin of ropa vieja, which translates to old clothes, and that is a recipe from Cuba. This is sort of like a shredded beef stew, and a lot of other Latin American countries also share these similar type of recipes. Okay, so let's jump into the ingredients. For this recipe, you'll need 2 pounds of flank steak, tomatoes, red onions, tomato sauce, garlic, red bell peppers, oregano, thyme, and I'm also adding some sofrito, which I will get into later. Also, look at this onion. When I sliced it, it totally looked like a face, and so I just had to add a smile and some eyebrows. Anyway, back to sofrito. So I'm going to be adding sofrito, which is also referred to as Sazon, and there are different variations of this, different recipes, but think of it as a cooking base. And I'm not going to show how I made this, but I will have the ingredients for it in the video description. To start off, you're going to season the meat on both sides with thyme, oregano, salt, and pepper. And then you want to get your cast iron skillet or just a large skillet, add some oil to it, and let that heat up really nice because you're going to want to sear the meat on both sides. So once you sear the meat on both sides, you want to cover that up with water. And this is going to be about, I want to say 3 cups for it to kind of cover the meat up really nice. And then put a lid on it and reduce the heat so it's not going to burn or the water is not going to dry out, and cook that for about 45 minutes. Make sure that you flip the meat over throughout those 45 minutes. So just check it every maybe 10 minutes, flip it over. And if you need to add more water because it ran out, then make sure to add more water as well. Now in a separate pot, add some oil and then add your onions and cook those until they're translucent. And I totally regret making the face on those onions because I felt really bad while I was cooking this. Once the onions are cooked, tender, and translucent, then add the garlic and then also add the bell peppers. And I'm also at this point adding the about 3 tablespoons of the Sazon, aka Sofrito. Next, add the tomatoes, and I forgot to film myself. I was very distracted. I didn't film myself adding the tomatoes because the smells, the aromas, it was just so fragrant, so oniony, and the bell pepper, and I don't know, it was just kind of sweet and savory. It was beautiful. Make sure to add a lid to the tomato mixture so that it cooks down to mushy goodness, and stir it up every once in a while. Next, it's time to grab that meat. Don't throw away the water, that delicious water that you cooked the meat in. Save that, we're gonna need that. And when you're shredding the meat, you can do it with your hands, but make sure to wait until the meat cools to room temperature so you don't burn yourself. Once your meat is shredded, then you're gonna go back to the tomato mixture and add the tomato sauce and the water from the meat juice is what we'll call it. Add that meat juice and then add your shredded beef, and you're going to want to stir all this up really good. Make sure every single piece of beef is nice and covered, and then you're going to want to simmer this for about 30 minutes with the lid on. It's so beautiful. Just look at that. I am so excited to taste this, and it's the moment of truth. Okay, so here's the thing. I expected this to be tasty because you really can't go wrong with like a tomato base and like shredded beef, but I was so impressed with how delicious it was, and I think it all had to do with the sofrito or sazon that I added. So make sure to check out that sofrito recipe, which I will include in the video description. We hope that you try this recipe this week. I think it would be something that's really easy to make in a crock pot as well. Also, check out our travel programs to the Dominican Republic, which I will have linked in the video description for you, and let us know if you've ever tried this recipe.